This is the final reading for Thoughts for Young Men by J.C.Ryle. Chapter 5 is called Concluding Remarks to Young Men. And now I hasten toward a conclusion. I have said things that many perhaps will not like and not receive, but I appeal to your conscience. Are they not true? Young men, you do have a conscience. Corrupt and ruined by the fall as we are, each of us has a conscience. In a corner of each heart there sits a witness for God, a witness who condemns when we do wrong and approves when we do right. To that witness I make my appeal this day. Are not the things that I have been saying true? Go then, young man, and resolve this day to remember your Creator in the days of your youth, before the day of grace is past, before your conscience has become hardened by age and deadened by repeating trampling underfoot, while you have strength and time and opportunities. Go and join yourself to the Lord in an everlasting covenant not to be forgotten. The Spirit will not always strive with you. The voice of conscience will become feebler and fainter every year you continue to resist it. The Athenians said to Paul, "We will hear you again on this matter." But they had heard him for the last time. Make haste and do not delay. Linger and hesitate no more. Think of the unspeakable comfort you will give to parents, relatives, and friends if you take my counsel. They have expended time, money, and health to raise you and to make you what you are. Surely they deserve some consideration at your hands. Who can estimate the joy and gladness which young people have it in their power to occasion? Who can tell the anxiety and sorrow that sons like Esau and Hophni and Phinehas and Absalom may cause? Truly indeed does Solomon say, "A wise son makes a glad father, but a foolish son is the grief of his mother." Oh, consider these things and give God your heart. Let it not be said of you at last, as it is of so many, that your youth was a blunder, your manhood a struggle, and your old age a regret. Think of the instruments of good you may be to the world. Almost all the most notable saints of God sought the Lord early. Moses, Samuel, David, and Daniel all served God from their youth. God seems to delight in putting special honor upon young servants. And what might we not confidently expect if young men in our own day would consecrate the springtime of their lives to God? Agents are needed now in almost every great and good cause, and cannot be found. Machinery of every kind for spreading truth exists, but there are not enough hands to work it. Money is more easily gotten for doing good than men. Ministers are needed for new churches. Missionaries are needed for new fields. Visitors are needed for neglected districts, and teachers are needed for new schools. Many a good cause is standing still merely for lack of agents. The supply of godly, faithful, trustworthy men for posts like those I have named is far below the demand. Young man, in this present day, you are needed for God. This is particularly an age of activity. We are shaking off some of our past selfishness. Men no longer sleep the sleep of apathy and indifference about others as their forefathers did. They are beginning to be ashamed of thinking like Cain, "Am I my brother's keeper?" A wide field of usefulness is open before you if you are only willing to enter upon it. The harvest is great, and the laborers are few. Be zealous for good works. Come to the help of the Lord's cause against the mighty forces of evil mounting every day. This is, in some sort, to be like God, not only good, but doing good. This is to live as David did. He served his own generation by the will of God. And who can doubt that this is the path which is most fitting to a never-dying soul? Who would not rather leave this world like Josiah, lamented by all, than to depart like Jehoram, to no one's sorrow? Consider, is it better to be idle, frivolous, to live for your body, your selfishness, your lusts, and your pride, or to spend and be spent in the glorious cause of usefulness to your fellow men? Is it better to be self-centered, or to be like William Wilberforce, or Lord Shaftesbury, a blessing to your country and the world, or to be like Howard, the friend of the prisoner and the captive, to be like Schwartz, the spiritual father of hundreds of never-dying souls in heathen lands? to be like that man of God, Robert Murray McShane, a burning and shining light, an epistle of Christ, known and read by all men, the quickener of every Christian heart that comes across your path. Oh, who can doubt? Who can, for one moment, doubt? Young man, consider your responsibilities. Think of the privilege and luxury of doing good. Resolve this day to be useful. At once give your heart to Christ. Think finally of the happiness that will come to your own soul if you serve God. Happiness by the way as you travel through life, and happiness in the end when the journey is over. Believe me, whatever vain notions you may have heard, believe me, there is a reward for the righteous even in this world. Godliness has indeed the promise of this life, as well as that which is to come. There is a solid peace in feeling and knowing that God is your friend. There is a genuine satisfaction in knowing that, however great your unworthiness, you are complete in Christ, that you have an enduring portion, that you have chosen that good part which shall not be taken from you. The backslider in heart may well be filled with his own ways, but a good man shall be satisfied from himself. The path of the worldly man grows darker and darker every year that he lives. The path of the Christian is a shining light, brighter and brighter to the very end. His sun is just rising when the sun of the worldly is setting forever. His best things are all beginning to blossom and bloom forever, when those of the worldly are slipping out of his hands and passing away. Young man, these things are true. Bear with this word of exhortation. Be persuaded. Take up the cross. Follow Christ. Yield yourself to God.